Attention all shoppers.
Came a male voice over the intercom.
Please move to the back of the store immediately.
The back of the store? I whispered to Daniel. Don't they mean the front of the store? Like, to pay for our stuff? It was 8:50 p.m., 10 minutes till closing time. We'd brought our two kids out to this late-night Walmart excursion in hopes of burning off some energy. And instead, they'd just thrown tantrums for new Legos and Hot Wheels. It was a disaster. But apparently, the disaster was just beginning. Please, move to the back of the store immediately, the voice repeated overhead. This is not a drill. I glanced around, but the other shoppers were just as confused as I was. An old lady looked up at the ceiling, scrunching her face. What the hell? A dark-haired woman asked her boyfriend, pushing a cart full of gardening supplies. Didn't you hear? An old man said, leaning over his cart of bottled water and canned food. We're in a tornado watch. One touchdown in Serville. A tornado? It was definitely storming outside. I'd seen the black clouds roll in from the east earlier, but it didn't look that bad.
Do not stay out in the open. I repeat, do not stay out in the open.
There was a pause. Then an explosion of sound as everyone began to mobilize. Carts rolling, panicked voices, feet slapping on the floor. No, this can't be happening. I hurried down the toy aisle, Tucker in my arms. Daniel and Jackson were following me. 3 zigzaggy turns, and then we were in the electronics area. I glanced at the TVs on the wall, and I pictured the 4 of us, crushed underneath them.
Stay away from the windows and doors,
the voice continued on the loudspeaker,
and do not attempt to exit the store.
Is it safe here? Daniel shook his head. Big open areas aren't good. I'm gonna check in back, see if there's a break room or something. You stay here, okay? I nodded. Arms shaking, I sat down on the floor between the shelves and the video games. Tucker sucked on a bottle in my arms, while Jackson began to giggle. Is this tornado gonna hit the store, and everything will fly around real fast? He asked, with a big stupid grin on his face. I don't know. A tornado. A real life tornado. Like you see in movies, plowing through our town. It was so unfathomable. We were New York natives, transplanted here to Indiana only 6 months ago. I'd never been in a tornado watch my entire life. Daniel jogged back into view. Everything's locked up, he said, as he joined me on the door. But listen, Farview's a big town. The chances that it'll hit this Walmart, well, I think we'll be okay. I never should have brought us here. You didn't know. None of us did. He wrapped his arms around me. They should have warned us, like an emergency alert on our phones, or a tornado siren or something. The voice overhead rang out again through the store.
Do not stay out in the open. Do not make yourselves visible. That includes security cameras. Please, move to a spot that is not visible to any cameras.
I frowned. What does that have to do with the tornado? A feeling of unease in the pit of my stomach suddenly began to spread. I glanced up, and I saw several black globes descending from the ceiling, hiding the cameras within. I guess we should listen to them and get out of sight, I whispered. I grabbed Jackson's hand, and Daniel picked up Tucker, and we jogged our way out to the center of the aisle. The store was an eerie sight at this point. Abandoned shopping carts, askew in the aisle, full of everything from peas to batteries to plants. Footsteps echoed around the corner of the store from people unseen as they found their new hiding places. We dodged a few shopping carts full of soda, ran through kitchenwares, and then stopped in the Easter decoration aisle. There was a camera in the center corridor, but as long as we stayed in the middle of the Easter aisle, we'd be invisible. The 4 of us crouched on the floor next to some demented-looking Easter bunnies. I'm hungry, Jackson whined. Mommy. I grabbed a big colorful thing of chocolate eggs and I ripped it open. Here, candy. You happy? I whispered, thrusting them into his hands, and then I leaned back against the metal shelves, panting. I didn't have long to rest. Mechanical whine overhead, and then the voice came back on through the speakers again.
Keep away from the aisles with food. If you have food with you, leave it and move to a new hiding place. If you have any open wounds, cover them with clothing.
What the fuck? That had nothing to do with keeping safe in a tornado. I think we should run for it, Daniel whispered to me, starting to stand. But the tornado, I don't think that there is a tornado. Listen, do you hear any wind? I listened, but all I heard was silence. No howling wind, no shaking ground, no projectiles changing against the metal roof. Maybe it's still coming. I know what they're saying doesn't make any sense, but to go outside, we need to get out of here. Now! He grabbed Jackson's hand as he held Tucker in his arms. Come on. Daniel, I don't think this is a good idea, I whispered. But the next words from the intercom changed my mind.
Assume the fetal position and place your hands on your head. Close your eyes and do not open them for any reason.
Let's go. We broke into a sprint and ran down the center aisle. Cameras be damned. The front door appeared in front of us, a little black rectangle looming in the distance. And as we got closer, I saw Daniel was right. There was a tree at the border of the parking lot, under a street lamp. It was perfectly still. We continued running, past the clothing area, past the snacks lined up in the counter checkout aisles. I ran towards the sliding glass door as fast as my legs would carry me. Almost there, almost! But the doors didn't open. No! Daniel slammed his body against the door, and it rattled underneath him. I tried to squeeze my fingers into the gap between them, to try and pull them apart, but they didn't even budge. They locked us in, I whispered. I want to go home, Jackson said. Tucker was beginning to fuss too, making little noises like he was about to start full-on wailing. I turned around, and that's when I saw him. A Walmart employee. He was sitting on the ground, at the end of one of the checkout aisles, facing away from us, wearing that familiar blue vest with the golden starburst. Hey! Let us out! He didn't reply. Did you hear me? I don't care if there's a fucking tornado. Unlock the door and let us out! And again, he said nothing. But in the silence I could hear something. A wet, smacking sound. I stared at the man, slightly hunched over, still facing away from me. Was he eating something? The speaker overhead crackled to life.
Attention! Please, do not talk to any Walmart employees.
My blood ran cold. The smacking sound stopped, and then, slowly, the man began to stand. He placed his palms on the conveyor belt. He pushed up, and I could see that they were stained with blood. I backed away, but my legs felt like they were moving through a vat of honey. No. Fingers locked around my arm and yanked. Come on! Daniel shouted. Tucker stared at me over his shoulder, and Jackson ran as fast as his little feet would take him. I was vaguely aware of sound behind me, but I didn't dare look back. Daniel ran into the clothing area, and I swayed, dodging circular racks of t-shirts and wooden displays of baby clothes. He skidded to a stop and ducked into the dressing room area. In here, he whispered, motioning at one of the rooms. We piled inside and locked the door. Daddy? Jackson started. You listen to me very carefully, he said, crouching to his level. You have to stay absolutely silent. Do not say a word, okay? Jackson looked at me, and then Daniel, and then he nodded and sat down on the floor. "I am going to try to call 911, Daniel whispered, transferring Tucker to me and pulling out his phone. He tapped on the screen, and then he frowned. "What?" We don't seem to have any service. I don't... I grabbed Jackson and pulled him away from the door. The four of us huddled in the corner, and I held my breath. Under the gap at the dressing room door, men's feet in black shoes. They slowly took a step forward, deeper into the dressing room. "Don't move," I whispered, holding Jackson. The man took another step. "Don't make a sound. Don't move. Don't..." And Tucker let out a soft cry. The man stopped, his feet turned, pointing at us. "No, no, no, no!" Tucker let out another cry, louder this time. My nails dug into Daniel's hand. "No!" The hand appeared. It slowly pressed against the floor, stained with blood. And then his knees appeared as he lowered himself down to the gap. "No!" Could he fit under? The gap wasn't small. It was like the stall door to a bathroom. If he flattened himself against the floor, there's a chance that he could fit under. I watched in horror as his stomach came into view, his blue Walmart vest, as he lowered his body to the ground. And then he pushed his arm under the gap and blindly swept across the floor, as if feeling for us. This is it. We're gonna die. And then he lowered his face. His face. God. There was something horribly wrong with his face. He smiled up at us with a smile that was impossibly wide, showing off blood-stained teeth. His skin was so pale that it was nearly blue, and his eyes, they were milky white, without pupils or irises. I opened my mouth and I began to scream.
"Attention, shoppers!
The voice began overhead. Shit.
Please, make your way to the front of the store and make your final purchases. We will be closing in 10 minutes.
What? And then? Before I could react, something unseen jerked the man out of view. A strange dragging sound followed, as if someone was dragging his body out of the dressing room area. I stared at the door, just shaking, as Tucker's cries rang in my ears. But he didn't come back. And within 10 minutes, the usual hubbub of Walmart returned. Voices, footsteps, shopping cart wheels rolling along the floor. Shaking, I finally got up and I unlocked the door. The store looked completely normal. People were lined up at the cash registers, placing their goods on the conveyor belts. Employees were scanning tags, printing receipts. People walked towards the glass doors, and when they did, they slid open. As we slowly walked towards the exit, I spotted the older man who'd warned us about the tornado earlier. What was that?" I asked, unable to keep my voice from shaking. He shrugged. "Well, I guess the tornado missed us. What a miracle, huh?" Giving us a smile, he disappeared out the glass doors and into the night.